If you send emails for your business, do cold outreach, generate leads, follow up with prospects, manage marketing campaigns, or work with multiple Gmail accounts, then you probably already know how repetitive email sending can become. You create a list of people you want to contact. You prepare your message. You personalize the message. You open Gmail. You send one email, then another, and before you know it, you've spent hours doing something that could have been organized and automated. And the problem becomes even bigger when you're managing multiple campaigns or multiple Gmail accounts. You have to remember which account you're using. You have to keep track of who you've already contacted. You have to manage your subject lines. You have to keep track of your sending progress. And if something goes wrong, you may have to manually figure out what happened. This is the problem I wanted to solve. And that's why I built the Gmail Automation Suite. The Gmail Automation Suite is a self-hosted email automation web application built with Google Apps Script and Gmail. The idea behind the system is very simple. Instead of manually managing every email yourself, you can bring the repetitive parts of your email workflow into one centralized dashboard. You connect your Gmail accounts. You add your recipients. You create your email templates. You configure your campaign. You choose your sending settings. And the system handles the scheduled processing of your email jobs. At the same time, you can monitor what's happening through the dashboard. You can see campaign progress. You can review email activity. You can check errors. You can manage connected accounts. And you can control your campaigns from one place. So instead of jumping between Gmail, spreadsheets, different campaigns, and different accounts, you have one system designed specifically around your email workflow. One of the biggest reasons I built this system is because I wanted more control. A lot of email automation platforms are built as third-party services. You sign up, you pay a monthly subscription, you upload your data, you use their interface, and you're working inside their ecosystem. But with this system, the idea is different. The application is built around your Google environment. Your campaign information can be stored in your own Google Sheet. Your connected Gmail accounts are managed through Google's OAuth authentication, and the system is designed so that you can have more control over the way your email automation works. This can be particularly useful if you're a freelancer, agency, business owner, or developer who wants a system that can be customized around your own workflow. Let's start with one of the major features: multiple Gmail account support. The system allows you to connect multiple Gmail accounts. Once accounts are connected, you can manage them from the system instead of having to manually switch between different Gmail inboxes every time you want to work on a campaign. You can select the accounts you want to use for a campaign. The system can then distribute email jobs across the selected sender accounts using sender rotation. This gives you a centralized way to manage your sending accounts. And each account maintains its own OAuth authentication information. That means the system doesn't need you to manually enter your Gmail password into the application. Instead, the account connection is handled through the OAuth authorization process. You can also configure a custom display name for each connected account, so you can control how the sender identity is presented when you're running different campaigns or working with different business identities. Now, let's talk about campaigns. A campaign is essentially the container for everything you want the system to do with a particular group of recipients. When creating a campaign, you can give it a campaign name. You can select your sender accounts. You can choose your email type. You can add your recipients. You can create your subject lines. You can create your message templates. And you can configure your sending settings. The goal is to give you control over the campaign before you actually start processing the emails. You aren't just pressing a button and hoping everything works. You can configure the campaign first, review your information, and then create the campaign. For your recipients, the system supports uploading recipient lists using TXT or CSV files. You can also paste recipients directly into the system. The application includes recipient processing features such as duplicate removal and email validation. This is important because when you're working with a large list, you don't want to manually check every address one by one. The system can process the list and prepare the individual email jobs that will eventually be handled by the sending engine. Now, let's talk about one of the features that makes campaign creation more flexible: subject rotation. The system allows you to create multiple subject lines for a campaign. Instead of preparing only one subject line, you can enter multiple variations. The system can then rotate those subject lines across your recipients. This means you can prepare different variations ahead of time, rather than manually changing the subject line for every individual email. And the same concept applies to your message templates. You can create multiple message templates for the same campaign. For example, you might have several different versions of your outreach message. Instead of manually deciding which message goes to which recipient, the system can rotate your prepared templates. This gives you flexibility when building campaigns. You can prepare your variations once and allow the system to handle the distribution. The important thing here is that the system is designed around campaign management rather than one-off manual sending. Now, let's talk about personalization. Because automation doesn't have to mean sending the exact same message to everyone. The Gmail Automation Suite supports dynamic placeholders. For example, you can use placeholders for a recipient's name, company, and website. Let's say you have a recipient named John who works for a particular company. Instead of manually typing John's name into your email, you can create your message using the name placeholder. When the system processes John's email, it can replace that placeholder with the appropriate recipient information. You can use these placeholders inside your subject lines as well as inside your message. This allows you to create a single campaign template while still making the individual emails more personalized. And if certain information isn't available, the system has a default behavior for the name field rather than leaving an empty placeholder. Another major feature is email format support. You can send plain text emails, or you can create HTML emails. If you're doing simple outreach and want your email to look like a normal text message, you can use plain text. But if you're creating a branded campaign, announcement, promotion, or professional business email, you can use HTML. HTML gives you more control over the appearance of your email. You can use formatting, links, images, custom styling, and other HTML elements. The system also includes an HTML preview, so you can inspect the message before sending it. That way, you don't have to guess what the final email will look like. Now let's talk about how the system actually processes emails. You can configure your campaign sending settings, you can control the batch size, you can configure the delay, and you can choose the delay unit depending on how you want the campaign to operate. The important thing about the architecture is that the system doesn't need to keep one script execution running continuously while it waits for every email. That is where the scheduled send engine comes in. When you create a campaign, the system creates individual email jobs. Each job can have its own scheduled send time. Instead of starting a script that sends an email, waits, sends another email, waits again, and keeps running, the system uses scheduled processing. Each email receives a next send time. Then a time-based trigger runs periodically. The system checks for email jobs whose scheduled time has arrived. If an email is due, it gets processed. After the email is successfully sent, the system updates its status. Then the next scheduled jobs can be processed when they become due. This architecture is designed to avoid unnecessarily keeping a script execution alive while waiting. It also allows different campaigns to have their own scheduling information, so the sending engine becomes more structured and manageable. Every campaign has a status. For example, a campaign can be active. That means it is currently running. It can be paused. That means processing has temporarily been stopped. It can be stopped. That means no more emails should be processed for that campaign. And once all of the jobs reach their final states, the campaign can become completed. This makes it easier to understand exactly what is happening with every campaign. Behind every campaign are individual email jobs. Each email can have its own status. It might be pending because it is waiting for its scheduled time. It might be processing because the system is currently handling it. It can become sent after successful delivery to Gmail. It can become retry if a temporary problem occurs and another attempt is scheduled. Or it can become failed if the system reaches the maximum retry attempts or encounters a failure that cannot be automatically resolved. This gives you a much deeper level of visibility than simply seeing that a campaign is running. Now let's move to the dashboard. The dashboard is basically your command center. Instead of having to open multiple pages or inspect your spreadsheet manually, you can get an overview of your email activity from one place. You can see how many emails you've sent today. You can see your weekly email volume. You can see your total emails. You can see your active campaigns. You can also set a daily goal. For example, if your target is a certain number of emails per day, the dashboard can show your progress toward that goal. You can also set a weekly goal. And there's a 7-day trend chart that gives you a visual representation of your sending activity. This makes it easier to understand your activity instead of looking at raw numbers in a spreadsheet. The dashboard also provides an overview of your campaigns. You can see the campaigns you've created. You can see how many emails have been sent, how many are pending, how many have failed, and what state each campaign is currently in. So if you're running multiple campaigns at the same time, you don't have to open each campaign individually just to understand what's happening. You can get the overall picture from the dashboard. Another important part of the system is the email activity section. This is where you can review your individual email activity. You can search for a recipient. You can search for a subject. You can filter by campaign. You can filter by status. And you can see information such as the sender, recipient, subject, message preview, status, and timestamp. This creates an audit trail of your email activity. So if you ever want to know whether a particular email was processed, you have a place to check. Now, let's talk about something that every automation system needs: error handling. Because when you're automating a process, things can sometimes go wrong. A recipient might have an invalid email address. An authentication token might need attention. A temporary Gmail or network issue might occur. Or a campaign might encounter an unexpected problem. Instead of simply showing you a generic error, the Gmail Automation Suite includes an error feedback system. Errors can be organized by severity. You can have informational events, warnings, errors, and critical system-level problems. The system also keeps information about the source of the error, the campaign involved, the recipient, the error code, the error message, and other relevant details. You can then review the error and mark it as resolved when you've dealt with it. The system also includes several recovery mechanisms. For example, if an email job becomes stuck in a processing state, the system can detect that situation and recover the job. The system also includes retry logic for certain temporary errors. For example, when a temporary rate limit, server, or network issue occurs, the system can attempt the operation again rather than immediately giving up. Token refresh is also handled automatically when possible. This means that when an access token expires, the system can attempt to refresh it before sending. The goal is simple: make the automation as reliable and hands-off as possible while still giving you control when something genuinely needs your attention. The Gmail accounts connected to the system use OAuth authentication. An access token is short-lived, so the system checks whether it is still valid before using it. If it has expired, the system can attempt to refresh it using the refresh token. This happens behind the scenes. You don't need to manually copy and paste access tokens every time they expire. If an account connection is no longer valid or authorization has been revoked, the system can identify that situation so you know that the account needs to be reconnected. Now, let's talk about where the system keeps its information. Google Sheets acts as the main data storage layer for the application. Different sheets can be used for different types of information. There is a campaigns sheet for campaign information, an emails sheet for individual email jobs, a tokens sheet for connected account information, an error logs sheet for system errors, a settings sheet for configuration, and optionally, a stat sheet for counters. This structure makes it easier to inspect the data behind the application, and gives you a centralized place for your records. The system is also designed with multi-user use in mind. A shared spreadsheet can be used by a team. Different users can connect their own Gmail accounts, and campaigns and logs can be managed through the shared environment. This can be useful for agencies or teams where more than one person needs access to the same automation system. And because this is a web application, the interface also includes both dark and light themes. You can switch between the two, depending on your preference. The selected theme can be saved so that your preference remains when you return to the application. The Settings section gives you control over the system. You can manage your connected Gmail accounts, connect a new account, remove an account, configure default batch sizes, configure default delays, control the sending state, and change the interface theme. So instead of hard-coding every setting into the application, you have a dedicated place to manage the system. So who can actually benefit from a system like this? If you're a freelancer, you can use it to organize client outreach and proposals. If you're a small business owner, you can use it to manage customer communication and campaigns. If you're running a marketing agency, you can use it to organize campaigns and sender accounts. If you're working with lead generation, you can use it to manage your outreach workflow. If you're in real estate, you can use it for client and prospect communication. If you're building a SaaS business, you can use it as part of a lead generation workflow. And if you're a developer or business owner with a specific workflow, the system can also be customized around your requirements. So what makes the Gmail Automation Suite different? For me, it's the combination of control, flexibility, and ownership. You have your own Gmail accounts. You have your own Google environment. You have your own campaign data. You have your own dashboard. You can configure your campaigns. You can manage your sender accounts. You can track your activity, and you can customize the system around your own requirements. It's not designed to be a complicated platform where you need to learn hundreds of features before you can send your first campaign. The goal is to give you a central workspace for managing the repetitive parts of email automation. Of course, automation doesn't remove the responsibility of using email properly. You should only send emails to people you're permitted to contact, follow applicable email and privacy laws, respect Gmail and Google Workspace limits and policies, and make sure your campaigns are appropriate for your recipients. The purpose of this system is to automate a legitimate email workflow, not to encourage spam or abuse. Used responsibly, automation can save time and make repetitive communication much easier to manage. So if we step back for a moment, here's what the entire system does. You start with your Gmail accounts. You connect them to the platform. You create your campaign. You add your recipients. You prepare your subject lines. You prepare your message templates. You add personalization. You choose plain text or HTML. You configure your sending settings. The system creates the individual email jobs. Those jobs receive their scheduled processing times. The scheduled send engine checks for jobs that are due. The Gmail API handles the sending. The system updates the job status, and the dashboard gives you visibility into the entire process. At the same time, the activity log records what happened, while the error system helps you understand anything that requires attention. So what you're really getting isn't just an automated email sender. You're getting an entire workflow for managing email campaigns. Now, that was the explanation, but I don't want you to just take my word for it. Let's actually open the application and see how it works. In the next part of this video, I'm going to give you a complete walkthrough of the Gmail Automation Suite. I'll show you the dashboard. I'll show you how Gmail accounts are connected. I'll create a campaign from scratch. I'll add recipients. I'll configure subject and message rotation. I'll demonstrate personalization. I'll show you the sending settings. Then, we'll look at the campaign progress, email activity, settings, and error management. So now, let's stop talking about the system and actually use it. And there you have it. That's the Gmail Automation Suite in action. As you've seen, the system brings the entire email automation workflow into one place. You can manage your Gmail accounts, create campaigns, personalize messages, configure your sending workflow, monitor your campaigns, track your email activity, and manage errors from one dashboard. But this isn't only a system I'm showing you in this video. If you have a business and you want a similar email automation system built for your own workflow, I can also help you set it up. Maybe you need a customized version. Maybe you want additional features. Maybe you want the system installed and configured. Or maybe you simply want to learn more about how the system works. Whatever your requirement is, feel free to reach out. You can find my email address below this video. Send me a message and tell me what you're trying to build or what you need the system to do. I'll take a look at your requirements and we can discuss the best way to set it up. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more videos about automation, software development, AI tools, and systems like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.